are back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by, like, a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the Smart Choice in Tires.
With Chelsea Mendelson, Jim Howe back here as the Lopes and Firestorm back on the floor getting ready for the second half. And the Firestorm, I'm sure, are already about ready to go home because it has just been a nightmare for Rusty Rogers' team. And he's having flashbacks that I'm sure he doesn't want to have because the last time that the Lopes hit over 100 points, 109 to be exact, was when they played ACU last year and beat them 109 to 53, and they're already more than halfway through that as we see the first half highlights, Chelsea.
Yeah, and similarly to last year, it has been an offensive onslaught here for GCU, led by, as you see right there, the Erickstrom sisters in that second quarter were terrific. Asha Straw right there also doing some great passing, which is not something we have seen from her in the past, and really we haven't seen much from her at all in the past as she redshirted last year. She has 5 assists, though, in the first half in just 11 minutes played, so one of the great players for them. McKenna Simon's getting in on the action. I mean, really, everyone for GCU that has played terrifically. I mean, they're just having themselves a dream game here early on. I mean, they cannot be stopped offensively or defensively, and the stats that we're about to look at show you just that.
They're having a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, Sydney Erickstrom leads the Lopes with 14 points. She has 1 point more than the entire Firestorm team. In fact, the Lopes bench has scored 41 points between them. As you look at the first half stats, as you can imagine, extremely lopsided. The Lopes shooting a whopping 61% from the field. Meanwhile, ACU just 6 of 29. And the Lopes and ACU hasn't even had a chance to go to the free throw line yet. So it's just all one-sided. There's not many other ways to say it, Chelsea.
Yeah, and really the story here has been opportunities. GCU has had way more shots than ACU has had, and that comes down to your second to last stat that you see on the screen there, the steals. GCU has had 15 steals in that first half, which is something that Molly Miller always emphasizes the minute she steps into GCU. That was something that she really emphasized, was defense and steals. They have done that so far, and also the rebounds have been terrific. GCU already has more rebounds in this first half than ACU has been averaging all season long. So definitely rebounds and steals have been the secret to success for GCU, but of course that offense has been terrific, shooting a clip of 61%.
Lopes have created 18 Firestorm turnovers and have only committed 5 themselves. Lopes will start it off with the basketball, and they will start it off with the same 5 that started the game. We haven't seen Trinity San Antonio, Nadia Evans, and Tiara Brown since the first quarter. And they join Jada Holland, who's getting her first start of the season at point guard, along with Olivia Lane. And speaking of them, there's Holland Delane. She'll fake, can't get a shot off, gives it to the cutting Tiara Brown, and T will score 3 field goals and 6 points for the senior from Spanaway.
And GCU really emphasizing, as I talked about during the second quarter, finding the open man, or I guess woman in this case, of just making that extra pass to the open player and not being selfish. Even if you want the points, you give it to your teammate anyway, and that is a winning brand of basketball.
The interior passing has been just magnificent. Now Holland all of a sudden finds herself alone. She was as surprised as anybody to have an uncontested trip down the lane, and that is her 3rd field goal. She's also got 6 points like Tiara Brown, and it is a 50-point cushion for the Lopes as they are rolling on this one. Pass in the corner, Payne retrieves, double teamed on the baseline, throws it out front. That's off the hands of Madison Kekik, and that will be an uncontested layup for Trinity San Antonio. Yep, broken record. She has 3 field goals and 6 points. So the Lopes continuing the track meet as Holland gets a hand in the passing lane. Rusty Rogers going with a revamped starting lineup for this second half with Reagan Henry, Addison Neal, and Madison Kekik in the backcourt. And then the starting front court that started the game, Emily Till, who has the basketball, and Hallie Payne, who she just gave it to, and who just gave it up to TSA. And the runway is open for Trinity San Antonio.
And again, she works in transition. She very rarely misses opportunities like that, and she usually starts those opportunities as well. Just a fantastic all-around player in TSA.
High post is Emily Till, covered by Olivia Lane. San Antonio almost came up with the steal. That one knocked away on on the drive by Till. Goes out of bounds. Firestorm will keep it with 14 seconds on the shot clock. And Reagan Henry, the 5'6" senior from Shelton, Washington, will inbound it in the corner. Throws it for Neal. Neal out front, covered by Nadia Evans. Nadia, again, only played about 6 minutes in the first quarter, but was 2 for 2 in that stretch. Addison Neal has had a nice game off the bench for Rusty Rogers, and she gets the three-pointer to go. On the other end, San Antonio finding a hole and scoring. San Antonio in double figures with 10 points, 6 of them coming in the first 2 minutes plus of this third quarter. And 69-16 Lopes. Neal with the ball out front, goes away from a screen, kick, open look, nice play as she gets the assist and gets Hallie Payne in the scoring column for the first time tonight. Payne, one of 3 different Firestorm players who averaged 10 points or more, but she's got 2 right now as she averages 14 on the season. Evans alone, and she'll make them pay. You don't do that with number 34.
Yeah, not only has she been so consistent from the mid-range and from three-point, she's also been consistent in the clutch. She has 2 games this season where she had a buzzer beater to win it for GCU. I mean, Nadia Evans is having a terrific season alongside GCU. This has so many guards, so many terrific, talented guards. You know, Trinity San Antonio. You can have Tiara Brown play the guard as well. Just so many great guards, and Nadia Evans really leads the pack.
Here's Kekik, almost stepped out of bounds with her left heel, but is able to stay in. Gives it off for Neal, back for Kekik. She's going to square and fire for 3, and she will bank it in, and she had Tiara Brown in her face. But at this point, the Firestorm will take any points they can get. 50-point lead now for GCU as Brown on the drive. Stop in the lane, look inside, nobody open. Instead, give it to Evans. She'll lob in for Lane. She's right underneath, and she'll put it up and in. Lane maybe got a little bit of push-off away, but that's her first field goal. And it's 73-21, Grand Canyon, as Rusty Rogers ready to platoon, but not before Emily Till puts up the 15-footer and gets it.
And that shooting percentage for ACU has really shot up in this quarter. I mean, they were shooting 21% in the first half. They're shooting around 30% now, and a lot of that has been mid-range shots and three-pointers, which is what they need to do, especially because GCU has been leaving them open behind the arc all game long. They're finally, slowly starting to make them pay. Well, and you've got to assume that Rusty Rogers went into the locker room at halftime and told the Firestorm, hey, we're not going to win this. We know we're not going to win this. Now we just have to win the quarters. Here's San Antonio. Goes in uncontested, but this time the layup won't go. And it's down into the lap of Kayla Horrigan. As the Firestorm come down, 4 minutes elapsed here in quarter number 3. It's been all GCU as they are well on their way to their 9th victory of the season. And there will also be something else we'll talk about a little bit later that will make this a milestone victory. Horrigan throws it for Cynthia Lopez, now for Alvarez. Can she get in the scoring column? No. Alvarez, who's their leading scorer on the floor at 17 a game, still has not scored. And Trinity San Antonio, who's the leading scorer in the season for GCU, just matched her season total with that layup. Steal from behind, San Antonio to Osley, back to TSA, over to Brown, now to San Antonio. She'll spin, she'll bank it up, she'll bank it in. And the Lopes just putting on a clinic. And now she's 7 for 9 from the field. She has been so consistent, finding the perfect looks offensively and also making great passes as TSA's got 2 assists as well.
That one, unforced error by the Firestorm, sends it the other way, and San Antonio and Brown will head to the bench. Asha Sra, along with Shea Fano, and Sydney Erickson checking in to join Osley and Holland on the floor. Holland comes around a double screen, kicks for Erickson. She has been money everywhere, and it's even easier when they don't cover her. She misses the first shot, but gets it to go on the second, and that's 16 points to lead all scorers for Sydney Erickson.
And again, that goes down to not only the physical play in the paint, but also just completely out-rebounding the Firestorm right now is GCU, and that gets them those second chance opportunities, making it look easy is GCU in the paint right now.
Alvarez finally gets into the scoring column for ACU with that one-handed scoop shot. 79-25. Osley would like to get in the scoring column. She has not been able to find the range from three. But speaking of finding the range, there is Sra for three. That's her second tray. And she's in double figures off the bench with a dozen.
And she's having one of the best games of her early collegiate career. She has been so great on both sides of the court here tonight for the Lopes.
Fano getting in the passing lane, knocking it out of bounds. And the Firestorm will have the basketball when we come back. Exactly 4 minutes left to go. Third quarter, all Lopes. GCU 82, Arizona Christian 25 on ESPN+.
Live.
Uh-oh. It's the Southeast Mini Golf Mixer Champ.
Anything cool this weekend?
ACU with the basketball, and with the ball in the drive, Emily Till sets up Reagan Henry. Open look from 18, but that one won't go. Rebound scramble, and the Firestorm getting it. Neal puts up the three. Look good, but it's off the mark. Saved on the side by Kekik, but right to the hands of GCU's Anna Osley. Holland will run, then give it to the trailer Sra. Finds Osley alone in the corner for three. Still won't go. Anna struggling to find anything that will get her in the scoring column. Nice save by Holland to Fano for three. Fano's first scoring in limited action, and it's a 60 points. GCU lead. Shot off the mark. Fano had the rebound, and it's knocked out of her hands, out of bounds, and at last went off Shea.
And
Osley was slow to get up.
Shea Fano is so hard to try to make a scheme against. I mean, when you have a big forward that can also shoot from behind the arc at a consistent level, I mean, how do you defend her? What do you emphasize? And also, she gets rebounds on the defensive end and plays great defense, as you saw right there. So she is just a terrific pickup in the transfer portal for GCU, as she shoots another three-pointer and sinks it.
Yes. Three-pointer, Shea Fano. And he also left out the fact that she can play some pretty darn good interior defense. We saw that in several games on the road trip against Idaho, against ASU, and against Liberty. That one, three-pointer off the mark, goes out of bounds, and the Lopes will have it. Laura Erikstrup, McKenna Simons, Callie Cooper in, Asha Sra, Shea Fano, and Jada Holland out. So the Lopes now with Simons, Callie Cooper, Anna Osley, Laura Erikstrup, and Asha Sra. So a four-guard alignment for Molly Miller against the Firestorm, who are also going small with four guards. Simon in the corner for Cooper. Open look for three. A little bit short. And Emily Till comes down with the board. That is now 7 boards for Till. She averages a little over 10 on the season. Both of these teams back in action on Saturday as they get their last couple of tune-ups in before conference play. That one's scrambled and saved out front by Payne. Only 6 on the shot clock. Neal now sees it, drives on Osley. Give it to Henry. Henry will drive, beats the shot clock, and gets the shot to go. Henry's first shot converted on the day.
And ACU has not had a lot of success in the paint thanks to the great defense that GCU has had all day long. Finally gets one to go there.
Kekik. Alert play, swats the pass intended for Erikstrup inside and makes the steal for ACU. But now as she hands off for Neal, knocked away, stolen back by Sra. For Simon. Simon's shot won't go. There's Erikstrup. But as she starts to put the shot up, a loose ball foul will be called on Laura Erikstrup. That's her second. 3 team fouls on the Lopes. ACU with only 1. And so no bonus in sight for either team, as we only have 87 seconds left before they reset it at the end of the quarter. Here comes Addison Neal into the front court. Tried to throw it for Hallie Barham, and Barham was going the other way, goes out of bounds. So Simons will inbound. ACU on Saturday will go home and host Park University out of Gilbert. And the Lopes will have their last non-conference tune-up, and it's a biggie. Their last matchup against a Conference USA team, it'll be Middle Tennessee, and there's nothing middle about Tennessee as far as their roster size. They have 3 players, 6'3" or higher, so that will be a big challenge for the Lopes and for Laura Erikstrup, one of the tallest players on the team, and showing it there as she used her size inside, banked it up and in. She's in double figures. Nice play by Callie Cooper, jumps in the passing lanes, and Erikstrup will get an uncontested layup as a result. 13 points for Laura, 16 points for Sydney, 29 points for anybody named Erikstrup. And that is 2 more than the Firestorm has on the scoreboard as a team. Firestorm have it knocked away out front. They'll get it out front with 34.3 seconds remaining. And both teams substituting at will, as the outcome of this game has not been really in question since the first few minutes. They leave Lopez alone, but the three-pointer won't go. And nothing but white jerseys underneath for the rebound, and Callie Cooper wants to slow it up. They'll go for the final shot of the quarter with the shot clock off and 18 seconds on the game clock. Cooper yo-yoing it out front, comes around to screen with 6 seconds, now with 5. Give it to Osley, square and fire for 3, in and out. It was halfway down and wouldn't stay in. And Anna Osley with a frustrated look on her face as she heads to the bench, but gets plenty of consoling by her teammates because they're all smiles. End of 3 here at Global Credit Union Arena. 92-27 GCU on top.
Get a shake with your points and some fries on the side with your points.
You get more with every order.
Get a Whataburger or a patty melt or some breakfast with the points.
You get more with every order.
Get a biscuit or a brownie, but no matter what you pick, you get more. Like your favorite Whataburger or whatever, cause it all gives you more.
With Whataburger rewards.
This is the most excited Lisa has ever been to get a car wash. And why shouldn't she be? Superstar is known as the #1 car wash for quality. Lisa's confidence is soaring because Superstar's ceramic sealant is the best in the ceramic sealant game. Just look at those suds. No amount of dirt and debris can take away from the sparkling shine of her mom mobile. Lisa loves Superstar Car Wash so much that she signed up for the monthly plan to get unlimited washes. And you should too. Visit superstarcarwash.com today.
Feeling uneasy about your financial future? You need a partner that helps lighten the load. Welcome to Global Credit Union. It means early payday, your paycheck up to 3 days early with direct deposit, accounts with no NSF fees, and a mobile app with tools to help you manage your family budget. At Global, we take member care seriously, with branches near you and a 24/7 US-based call center staffed by real people. Join us at Global Credit Union.
Grand Canyon University makes earning your degree possible with over 130 academic programs for traditional campus students, with more than 80 bachelor's programs offered online. GCU provides you with the personal support you need, from complimentary unofficial transcript evaluations within 24 business hours to scholarships, academic support, and your GCU graduation team, led by your own university counselor. Find your purpose at GCU. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
The future looks good. The future.
Fourth quarter upon us. 92-27, not a typo. Lopes scored 24 points in the first quarter alone, and it's been an uphill struggle for ACU all along. Firestorm begin this fourth quarter with the basketball on a lineup of Madison Kekik, Teresa Moore, Kayla Horrigan, who almost got that shot to go, Hallie Barham, and Cynthia Lopez. Lopes with their first offensive possession. Low block for Laura Erikstrup. Off for Straw. Three-pointer misses everything. And Barham comes out of the pack with it. Lopes with a lineup of Asha Straw, Callie Cooper, McKenna Simons, Anna Osley, and Laura Erikstrup. Osley almost came up with the steal, but was standing on the out-of-bounds line. And to add insult to injury, she'll pick up the personal foul. But fouls have not been an issue. As a matter of fact, not only have the Lopes only committed 6 fouls the whole game, ACU has only committed 6, and the Firestorm don't have a free throw attempt yet. And we're in the first minute of the fourth quarter. Sra strives around Barham all the way to the hoop but can't finish it. And disappointment on the faces of the Lopes bench. Kekik in the front court for Arizona Christian. Keep in mind that this one will not show up as a final score on the ACU website because it was listed as an exhibition to start with and will stay that way. But the Lopes will count it as a game, which means they are going to move to 9-3 overall. And they've only got one more tune-up before WAC play continues. They won their first 2 games in late November, early December, and they will start it back up with Southern Utah next week. We'll talk more about that a little later on. Nice pass. Holland to Cooper. Score and count it, foul. Send Callie to the free throw line. And now all 12 players that have suited up for the Lopes have scored. So Cooper completes the three-point play. And the Lopes 5 points away from hitting the century mark for the first time this season, which is something in the first 3 years of Molly Miller's tenure we weren't saying this late in the season. Oregon shot off the back of the iron from 15, but this is a much different team, Chelsea. This is a team that 95 points is a lot for them because they are very defensive oriented. On the travel by Holland, it will send it back to ACU, but they have really kind of reinvented this team. And I think a lot of that not only is Molly Miller's doing, but you got to probably also tip your hat to some of the assistant coaches, the new people in town, namely Jason Glover and Laura Dinkins.
Yeah, really, I mean, just start this season off. This team is so different. As you talked about, the new assistant coaches, a lot of new faces on the roster as well. GCU's had to work through a lot of differences, a lot of chemistry, like trying to build chemistry and stuff like that. And that's been a big reason why they've lost a couple of the games that they have. But today, they have looked like an entirely different team. Finally feels like the Lopes team that we were expecting to see. They've been so consistent offensively and defensively as well, which is something, again, you always expect from a Molly Miller-led team. But just what a great day for GCU. And, I mean, by far the most points that they've scored this season, including their exhibition at the beginning of the year.
Laura Erikstrup continues the onslaught with the layup inside, and again, great ball movement resulted in that one. Erikstrup now with 15 points. She and her twin sister, Sydney, who just got the warm-ups off on the Lopes bench, have combined for 31. Nice pass inside. Reagan DeHenry finally able to get Cynthia Lopez in the scoring column for ACU.
And the GCU defense was just nowhere to be found in the paint there. You're definitely seeing the Lopes slow down a bit as Osley finally gets a three-pointer to go.
That brings some smiles on that Lopes bench as Osley, who is known for her three-point prowess but has struggled this afternoon, finally on her 7th three-point attempt is able to find the range. Three-pointer by Neal, not good, and the rebound fight won by the Lopes' McKenna Simons. The Lopes have hit 100, and we still have just under 7 minutes left to play before we turn out the lights on this one. Here's Osley. Can she do it again? No, that one not good, and the rebound slapped out of bounds by Laura Erikstrup as Laura will stay in the game and will high-five her sister Sydney as Sydney checks in to replace McKenna Simons. Addison Neal into the front court. Again, looking for positives from Rusty Rogers' team, and Neal has definitely been one of them off the bench. She has served the point guard spot well. That pass knocked away by Neal. And the Lopes will have it in the front court with 6:18 left and a 69-point cushion. Lopes scored 109 a year ago against ACU. That actually kicked off the 2022-23 season. And nearing that mark again here this evening. Lopes back in action against Middle Tennessee. 2 o'clock tip-off this Saturday right here at Global Credit Union Arena. Cooper's shot not good, but there's Sidney Erikstrup for the offensive follow. Out for Osley. Osley will take it. Osley will get it for 3. And Anna Osley starting to heat up here in this fourth quarter.
And Anna Osley, the transfer from Boise State, the Scottsdale, Arizona native, she was brought in simply to shoot three-pointers. And unfortunately, it's been a little bit cold from the field today, but earlier in the season had a game where she had 8 three-pointers. So she's capable of getting hot behind the arc. And hopefully we can see more of that from her as the season continues and as the game continues.
She's going to do it again. She's going to accomplish it again. Osley, back-to-back-to-back threes. And it's 106-33, Lopes on top as we near the midpoint of the fourth quarter. Nice anticipation by Cooper. The steal, the wheel, the deal. Callie Cooper lays it up and in. Cooper coming off the bench for their first time as a Lope. Transferred in from UC Santa Barbara after spending her first 2 years of college ball there. Addison Neal lobs for Reagan DeHenry, moving in, double team, crash into Holland, and Jada able to take the charge. That'll be an offensive foul.
And great job to draw the charge there. We haven't seen that a lot. Really, I think that might even be the first one today. But GCU does that all the time. It's usually Tierra Brown. But in this case, a different Lope getting it done. And you love to see that kind of effort defensively.
Time out on the floor. 4:57 left to go in this one. And it is all Lopes. Keep it here for the final 5 minutes on ESPN+.
Live.
Take it to the flow.
Gotta love that.
So you think you're ready for the NFL playoffs?
You ready, Joe? I was born ready.
Flyovers? Check. Extravagant entrances? Check. Dynamic duos?
Check.
Nightmare matchups? Check. Team of destiny? Check. All the heart-pumping, stadium-jumping action of your playoff dreams? Check, please.
Here's where legends are born, and every match is a spectacle. For the love of football, for the love of La Liga.
Well, there's the score. We don't need to read it. But it's been all Lopes all day long. Simons trying to add to it. The three-pointer, though, is off the mark. And it comes down to the hand of the Firestorm, Cynthia Lopez. Lopes scored 109 in the win over ACU last year and 1 point away from tying that. That pass thrown away. Lopes' defense has been corner to corner all night long. Their interior passing has been strong. Their interior defense has been strong. Their offensive rebounding has been strong. I mean, when you have this kind of a box score, not much more to be said. And for Rusty Rogers, he just has to sit in front of the Firestorm bench and just figure out how to get them prepared for Park University Gilbert, which will be their next opponent on Saturday. Fano's layup won't go. Olivia Lane back in the lineup, fighting for the rebound, and she's called for traveling as she tried to avoid the tie-up. So possession arrow will send it the other way with 4:05 left. And we have been spending much of the last 3 timeouts, Chelsea, trying to figure out who the Global Credit Union player of the game is. And at this point, I think there's a whole lot of houses divided on that because we've been trying to figure it out with so many candidates.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good options for GCU, and the fun part is it's really bench players that have put on a show here today for the Lopes. give them the score that they have. It's been some great offensive production, but you can't sleep on the defense either. I mean, GCU just all around, both sides of the floor, has been incredible today. That's undeniable. And what is arguable, though, is which player to choose for the player of the game.
Fano gets the steal on the high pass. Here's Cooper 2-on-1. She'll keep, she'll score. Callie Cooper, all 7 of her points coming in this fourth quarter. We should also mention that this is not the only Lopes blowout of the day. Earlier today, in a game that was really only scheduled about 3 weeks ago, Bryce Drew's team with their first game after Christmas, after Addison Neal hits that 3, they go over to Luke Air Force Base in Surprise on the west side of the Valley of the Sun. For those of you who are not Phoenix residents, they take on Bethesda College from California. And as Lane is hacked on the arm and fouled, she'll head to the free throw line. That's personal foul number 4 on Shaylin DeYager. Bryce Drew's team basically leads from wire to wire. They win at 124-74 over the NAIA squad. And like in this game, with Molly Miller able to be able to use a lot of players that don't get a lot of playing time, Bryce Drew did the same thing. He had a revamped starting lineup, and he gets some great performances. It was an important game for Jovan Blackshear Jr. in only his 3rd game back after ACL surgery. He played 22 minutes and got 20 points out of the deal, but also some big games for a couple of guys who don't get to play all that much. First of all, Luke Ward just missed a double-double, 15 points, 9 boards, but a double-double for Derek Michael Xaviero, 12 points and 11 rebounds. Congratulations to both of those guys. I'm sure they had all smiles on their faces when they got back on the bus.
And DMX's story is just such a great one as well. He was hospitalized for much of last season, redshirt freshman, and he has been really solid in the locker room for GCU. So to be able to see him perform on the court as well is a great thing for him. And of course, Luke Ward, the transfer from Oregon, another really solid role player for the Lopes, getting some love today.
So this will complete the doubleheader sweep, even though it was on 2 different courts. It will be on 1 court this coming Saturday. It will be a day-night doubleheader. Molly Miller's Lopes will lead it off at 2 p.m. against Middle Tennessee. That will be a stern test from the Conference USA foes. And then it'll be Louisiana Tech coming to town to battle Bryce Drew's defending WAC champions. That'll be a 6 o'clock start on Saturday night. Again, that's this December 30th, the last action before the end of the calendar year, and you can catch both of those games right here on ESPN+. 2.5 minutes to go. Lopes up 112-36.
There's not much left to fear. When the boogeyman...
And wide open in the paint. As I mentioned earlier, GCU's defense definitely lighting up here in the 4th, letting ACU get some easy opportunities under the basket.
Here's Erikstrup trying to add to her total 3-pointer in and out. And it comes to Kekik, and we are under 2 minutes left to go in this one. Lopes with 4 different players in double figures, 3 of them coming off the bench. Sra off to Simons. Simons can't get the 3 to go. That would have put McKenna in that double-figure plateau. Kekik back away. That's a 2-point shot. That's off the back of the iron. Gets for Horrigan. Her shot won't go. And here's Sydney Erikstrup. Off for Cooper. Cooper drives. Dish for Simons. Has it knocked away. Somehow saves it. And on the other end, Neal with a breakaway. She'll put it up and in. Again, Addison Neal has been the main bright spot for the Firestorm. Off the bench, she's the only one in double figures, has a dozen points. And Rusty Rogers is going to call a timeout. 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here with a $1:13 left. So the Lopes are going to move to 9-3 overall, but that is not the important part of this. Chelsea, do you want to unveil what historic milestone this will become in 73 seconds?
Well, I think it's pretty safe to say GCU's got the win. And with that win, Molly Miller gets her 250th win. So congratulations to Coach. Of course, we'll talk to her post-game. I'm sure she's very happy about this win and, of course, a milestone for her. mean, fairly early in her coaching career. I mean,
8 years. That is amazing to be averaging that kind of a win total and get 250 in just her 4th year here. And then after 5 successful years at Drury. I mean, it's just amazing that, and that's one of the reasons why she is in that all-time winning coaches list for the NCAA right now on any level.
Yeah, her winning percentage, even when you look to her playing in high school and college, not even just coaching at Drury, all she knows how to do is win, and she has coached GCU teams that have been so successful, especially in the regular season, has had winning records every year she's been at GCU, and that really just speaks to who she is as a coach, but also as a recruiter. Excuse me. She's had some amazing players come in and out of this program already here early on in her only 4th season at GCU. I mean, and one of my most favorite that she's recruited so far in the transfer portal is Trinity San Antonio, who she stole from rival California Baptist in the offseason, who had a great game today in limited minutes, 14 points in 14 minutes. And TSA has been terrific. So just one of those great players that Coach Molly Miller has brought in, and also the defense for the Slopes team that she has brought in. She's really just turned this program around. They had a national spotlight at the beginning of the year after that huge comeback against St. Mary's, which you and I were in the booth for.
That's right.
Just a lot of love from all around the country, and yeah, she has been just such a great coach for GCU, and the success of her teams has really spoken to that, and now really, and she'll probably say it in the interview too, the last thing she needs to add to her pedigree is a WAC championship.
Yes, exactly, and of course they, for the first time in GCU's history, the preseason coaches picked to win the WAC title, and that of course will happen in mid-March in Las Vegas at the WAC tournament. And we should also tip our hat while we're congratulating Molly Miller. It's been a fantastic coaching career for Rusty Rogers. He's in his 39th year overall, and he posted his 700th career win a couple of years ago for ACU. He is at 761 career wins as we speak. He won't get 762 here today, but still 2 great coaches going at it. One on the NAIA level and has really carved out a niche in his nearly 40 years, and Molly Miller at the D2 level got it kick-started at Drury, and now in 4 years at GCU, really making her mark. Inbound steal by Sydney Erikstrup in the final minute of this one, and Sra will slow it up. Hope you'll stick around for our post-game coverage. Erikstrup for 3, that one won't go. We'll have a live interview with the lady with 250 wins. We'll also talk to our Global Credit Union player of the game. That foul called on Asha Sra. And would you believe it? 34.2 seconds remaining in this one, and the Firestorm will go to the free throw line for the first time in the form of Addison Neal. And the first free throw not good. So the Lopes will move to 9-3. ACU's record will stay at 9-4. Again, they listed this as an exhibition going in. But it does count on the Lopes' overall record. Teams are allowed only so many games on the active schedule that they can count towards their win and loss total. Sra can't use all of the 15 seconds on the clock, but she'll try and use as much, and I think Molly Miller's telling them just hold the ball. Erikstrup is going to shoot it and get it for 3. Sydney Erikstrup with 19 points. And that's the way this one, I do believe, is going to finish, as Lopez will not get a shot off. Lopes score the first 18 points of the game, and they win it by 74. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with our post-game show. Final score from Global Credit Union Arena at GCU. It's Grand Canyon 115, Arizona.